Kris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from T.C.TrillzBeats. Hey, John, Rob, Kris, and Ray. I hope each of your mornings are going great. I noticed last night IGN put out an interesting article about a recent New York Times interview. In the interview, Elizabeth Olsen voiced her frustration about, quote, lost opportunities in her role as the Scarlet Witch, stating she blames the MCU. Do you think her feelings toward the MCU will deter her from ever returning as Wanda? Thanks for all you guys do.
All right, thanks for sending that in, TC. Look, it's not uncommon to hear about certain actors or performers turning down certain franchise roles because of a long-term commitment. One of the most notable ones, of course, was that Joaquin Phoenix was lined up to play Doctor Strange. However, they could not come to terms with the fact that Marvel wanted a multi-film deal, and Joaquin Phoenix was not interested in that, and they couldn't overcome that. And eventually, it all worked out great. Joaquin went on to play the Joker, won an Academy Award. Mm-hmm. Doctor Strange got played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and he's great in it. So everything worked out. But still, I think in the fan community, and I include myself in this, we take for granted sometimes that we just think, well, who wouldn't want to be in a Marvel movie? You'd be the world's most popular films, some big paydays, maybe not as big as we think sometimes, but some big paydays, all that kind of stuff. But we do forget that there is a certain rule in thermodynamics that says you can't be in two places at once. And if you are doing one thing, that means you're choosing not to do another. If you choose to date Katie, you cannot also date Sherry. Unless you got some acrobatics you can do, I'm not sure. But if you choose to do one thing, you're actively choosing not to do another. And by being in the MCU and the long commitment that Elizabeth Olsen made, that means there were probably some projects that she as an actress would have loved to have done and been passionate about, but just couldn't do it. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who write about this in the following. And Elizabeth Olsen's talking about, she says, playing the Scarlet Witch and playing Wanda in the MCU, it took me away from the physical ability to do certain jobs that I thought were more aligned with the things I enjoyed as an audience member, Olsen said. And this is me being the most honest. Also, Olsen said at the Deauville American Film Festival in 2015, losing out on the lobster role was heartbreaking, adding, I was in contention for, let me try this again. I was in a contract for Marvel that I could not get out of. So that didn't work out. I started to feel frustrated, Olsen told the Times, about losing interest in roles because of the MCU. I had this job security, but I was losing these pieces that I felt were more a part of my being. And the further I got away from that, the less I became considered for it. So she's talking about something that I've talked to many actors about, which is when you don't do certain roles, then eventually interest in you for those roles starts to go down. I remember I went and had coffee one time with this actor whose name you would know. And he was talking to me about, after I broke out in X movie, I decided to turn down these hyper popular, just big box office kind of movies. But he said that was a mistake because after a couple of years, the big box office movies didn't come knocking on my door anymore. And that started to happen. And what Elizabeth Olsen is kind of mentioning here is that there are these roles I really wanted. I couldn't take them because of my commitment to the MCU. And eventually I just stopped getting phone calls for these roles that I really wanted. And that's kind of sad, but she can wipe her eyes with $1,000 bills. I mean, she's doing all right. And by the way, lest we think that Elizabeth Olsen is sounding ungrateful, she goes on to talk about, hey, you know what? Then I got really featured prominently in WandaVision. I got Emmy nominations. Like, she's perfectly happy. But Rob, I think it's interesting that we hear from these performers and say, yeah, like we just see, wow, you're in the MCU, blah, blah. But these are huge commitments. That means that as an artist, there are pieces that you would die to be a part of that Marvel will not let you be a part of because of your time commitments. And that's understandable on Marvel's part too. So it just kind of shows an interesting different side. You heard Elizabeth Olsen's words. What do you make of them?
Well, John, I mean, I think that we all want to do when we're creating things, we like new challenges. We like to do different things. And basically, Wanda Maximoff is a certain character that only has a certain limited range because of who she is and what she is and how she is. And, Elizabeth Olsen did WandaVision, which was that was a big commitment, and jumped probably right into Doctor Strange soon after.
Right.
So you only got a finite time to walk the earth. And she was probably a year year and a half, 2 years of her life dedicated just to playing WandaVision in those two things. Not able to, and that was, some of it was during the pandemic. So, I mean, like, I remember seeing her with Jeremy Renner in Wind River. You know, I thought
she's so good in that.
She's so good in that. And I think that, of course, she wants to play different things. I mean, it's not like Wanda's the most nuanced of characters. She's really...
She finds a way to make it that a little bit, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She does a phenomenal job. I think she's a terrific actress. But, you know, I first saw her in Marcy, May, Martha.
Yep, that's the one where everybody first really took notice of her.
And I'm like, this girl is a tremendous actress. She has a lot... I mean, I could see her winning an Oscar. But she's not going to win an Oscar in an MCU movie. And I don't think that's necessarily... I'm not saying that that's what her end-all, be-all is. But actors they're actors, so they want to have a diversity of roles. And I'm sure she's very grateful because she's got a worldwide fan base now. She was nominated for an Emmy for WandaVision. And she was terrific. And I think that now she's in a position, I bet you she made a deal and said, look, kill me off for a while. let me branch out. You don't need me until there's going to be another Avengers movie after Doctor Strange. So I bet you she's going to have a number of projects lined up and we're going to see some exciting things from her.
Kris, you hear about this. I mean, I guess we also got to take in consideration that Elizabeth Olsen, and on her own, has a lot of money. Her family has even more money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I remember having this conversation with some people the other day because we saw a picture was posted up of Elizabeth Olsen with her two sisters that said it's Scarlet Witch and her variants. And people saying, yeah, nobody even cares about her sisters anymore. It's like, you do realize they're worth about 10 times what she is, right?
They have an empire.
They have an empire. But anyway, tons of money, all that stuff in the world. Rob, you brought up Oscars, right? When you are an actress like her, who is recognized as being really damn good, and you've got the money and you've got the fame, I think she is thinking Oscars at this point. She's thinking legacy. At her young age, she's already thinking legacy. You hear what she's saying here. I mean, obviously, as an actor and a performer, what a nice problem to have. But but what do you think about her comments?
Well, I mean, you do have to remember, too, that she is an actor's actor, right? She went to NYU's Tisch School. She went to the Moscow Art Theater School as well. She is a very intense performer. And so I can understand this. And when you compare it to other people's comments, right? When people in the past, we've talked about this with other actors who seem incredibly ungrateful and dismissive of being part of a show that gets renewed or something like that. But when you get that context of, yeah, this was frustrating to me, but then I got these other things and I found the joy in it. It's much like what Chris Hemsworth has said about Thor, right?
Yeah.
I lost interest and then Taika Waititi came in and reignited my interest in this character and this love of this character. WandaVision allowed her to explore so much nuance within Wanda Maximoff and allowed her to just stretch her acting muscles and show us she's capable of so many different kind of genre films as well. You look at her IMDb as well. She's done things like Ingrid Goes West. You know, she picks
which is a weird one for her, actually.
It's a weird one and it's real fun. She's great as Taylor. But, you know, she picks these indie films where she just connects with story and character. And I think that's what she's kind of missing here. And I do think she's focused on legacy. And I think she's definitely going to get several nominations and probably some wins under her belt, too.
Because here's the scary thing about her. She's only getting better.
Yep.
Like every time I see her, she's just better than she was before. And she's still real young.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be kind of crazy how good she actually becomes. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about Elizabeth Olsen's comments here? Just reminding us all, it's like, yeah, there's all this great stuff, but that comes at the expense of other things, even for somebody like her. What are your thoughts on what she said? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to take a minute and thank the sponsors of this video, Liquid IV. Now listen, just one stick of Liquid IV added to 16 ounces of water will hydrate you faster and more efficiently than just water alone. It contains 5 essential vitamins like B3, B5, B6, B12, and of course vitamin C with 3 times the electrolytes as traditional sports drinks. And what makes Liquid IV so effective is the science of cellular transport technology, or CTT. You see, it's designed to enhance rapid absorption of water and other key ingredients into your bloodstream faster and more efficiently. You know, Ann and I get up pretty early in the morning to go to the gym because we can't go to the gym at any other time during the day. And for the last couple of weeks, I have been drinking 1 full glass of water with Liquid IV. And all I can tell you is you can feel the difference during the workout. So go and grab Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code CAMPEA at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order when you use the promo code CAMPEA, that's CAMPEA, at liquidiv.com. Experience better hydration today when you go to liquidiv.com, and remember, use the promo code at checkout, CAMPEA.